the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so hopefully, if you are in America, you are chillin'. Ready to start cooking tomorrow, eat some food, just generally in a reclined position. That is why today I wanted to do a really chill Q&A. I haven't done a Q&A in ages, and honestly, I am proud to have reached a point on my channel where I ask people if they want to know anything, and they actually ask me questions. Because for years, I would be like, guys, let's do a Q&A, and people would just be like, crickets. Hashtag crickets. Actually, in the current moment, in real time, I am probably hiking or skiing in Colorado. So that's where I'm at right now. I went on both my Instagram and my YouTube community tab, and I asked you guys, you could ask me anything. And I honestly haven't even really looked at them yet. And so we're gonna look at them now, and I'm going to answer them. So let's jump in. So the highlight reel, which is a phenomenal pun, you have to admit, R-E-A-L, that's fantastic, says, do you have any guilty pleasures, things you know you shouldn't eat, drink, or watch? I have a horrible habit of like conveniently forgetting how much my body hates wine. Like 1 glass, we're okay. 2 glasses, danger zone. 3 glasses, why? Why do I ever go there? I don't know, and I rarely do, but man, 2 days ago, I was so hungover. Like, I was hungover on an existential level, and it was because I had just casually decided to have a 3rd glass of wine while Mike and I watched Parks and Rec. Like, stupid, you know? But I just destroyed myself for the next day, and like that, I don't know what it is about drinking something out of a wine glass that's so appealing. Last night, I went and had a game night with my friends, and I just drank ice water out of a wine glass, and they're like, do you want a regular glass? I was like, I like drinking things out of wine glasses, okay? I don't know why. So wine is definitely that way, especially if it's bubbly. I can really hurt myself on some bubbly. Eating, I don't really have like bad guilty pleasures when it comes to eating. I let myself eat most things because I'm allergic to so many things. And so if it doesn't have gluten in it, it doesn't have refined sugar in it, it's probably fine. Some of my like, you know, indulgences are like almond date rolls or like coconut sugar chocolate. Like, yeah, I shouldn't be having those like all the time. And sometimes I do go overboard. Plus, I really like potato chips. Like, potato chips are the thing. All right, come on, nose ring. What is your deal? Potato chips are the one thing that have stood by me for all of time. Potatoes are love. When it comes to, like, if I'm ready to indulge and I'm at the grocery store, it's like, I will buy a bag of, like, $5 artisanal potato chips and just house them. She says, and what's something you've always wanted to do? Mine is become bilingual, which I'm working on. That is awesome for you. That is something that would literally never happen for me. I would like to become independent enough that I can move around the country or move around the world and maintain my YouTube career. That's all I've really ever wanted out of this YouTube career, was like, actually, this is my aspiration. You can unsubscribe below because I'm going to say something political, but it has literally been my plan. I'm like, I want to be completely sustainable by the next presidential election. Like, I want to make sure that this career on YouTube can go anywhere with me by November 2020, because if that man gets reelected, I'm expatriating. Okay, Gail Wins asks, which I don't think that's your real name, and I appreciate the pun. And if it is your real name, that's even better. So I got a couple ideas for questions. Tell us about your background in art. So my background in art, I took to it quickly. As a kid, my grandma was a painter and she taught me how to paint, and then I became like the art kid at my elementary school, and it became the thing that I knew how to do. And honestly, I wasn't the best artist at my elementary school, but for some reason I just kind of got like small famous as like an art kid at my school. I think it's because like, I don't know, I was always like winning art contests and art projects and stuff like that. I just liked impressing people. I look back and there are people from my childhood who ended up actually being truly excellent at art, and I majored in art, and it was still incredibly challenging, and I don't make a lot of art now other than like on my face, because it still is not something that like brings me pleasure. In fact, I don't think that art brings any artist's actual pleasure, unless it's like fleeting, because we make art because art is painful and we must, not because it's like you get done and you're like, that's perfect, I did great. So I think that's like the hard part about art, is that you kind of have to be miserable to make good art. I don't know, that's up for discussion, but that's how I feel. How did you get diagnosed with celiac and at what age? I have never been diagnosed with celiac. I was very, very, very sick. Very sick, from age like 22 to 25, like extremely sick. And like 21 was when it probably started, but I didn't realize it because I was just like in that just drink tons of beer tunnel as like a, a college student, and I didn't know what was wrong. I felt horrible all the time. It was because I was hungover. I started to try and like get myself on the rails. I was like, no, okay, I want to eat healthy and blah, blah, blah. And like, I realized that like in the morning I felt okay, in the afternoon I felt and then after dinner I had to go lie down every single night. It was horrible. I was so sick, and I was 9% body fat, so super malnourished. Women are supposed to be at least 14%, and that's like an Olympic athlete. I was 9% body fat. I was eating so much fatty stuff and trying to like put MCT oil and everything to try and get my body to metabolize fat, but it wouldn't do it. And my stomach was like always like distended, like bloated, distended. It was awful. It was awful. I was like skin and bones with this big swollen stomach. So I did an elimination diet, which is what you really have to do a lot of the time unless you want to go and pay for like an endoscopy, which I didn't know of at the time. I didn't know that there was like a formal diagnosis process for this disease that I didn't even know existed. And I just cut everything out for 2 weeks. I basically ate just like chicken and rice and vegetables for like every meal, and like, oatmeal for breakfast. And I did that for 2 weeks, and my body felt awesome, and then I started reintegrating things. And it was like, okay, sugar was okay, dairy was okay, gluten like blew my stomach right back up. Like I had like a sandwich and then some spaghetti, and my stomach, all my symptoms came back, and I was like, aha! And so I cut gluten out of my diet. Then about a year and a half later, my sister and I were like getting off of our respective planes at Christmas, and she says, oh, I got diagnosed celiac. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And she's like, no, it's not. It's horrible. I write food columns. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but like, oh my God, it makes my life make so much more sense because I already have psoriasis. There's a lot of autoimmune stuff in my family, and the fact that she got the diagnosis from like a true endoscopy, the only way for you to actually get formally diagnosed with celiac, because there is a blood test, but it doesn't work. Even the doctor will tell you it doesn't work. The only real way to get diagnosed with celiac is for them to see these symptoms. So you have to be eating gluten at the time for like a couple of weeks, I think, for the damage to occur inside your body, and then they have to go inside you with a camera and make sure that you have indeed burned all of the cilia off the inside of your digestive tract, which sounds pretty terrible. And I have realized on my own that I am definitely gluten intolerant, and I have been glutened, and it's the worst. And my sister is celiac, so I just kind of put 2 and 2 together. I am very allergic. Like, I can't have shared oil on fries or anything like that. I never got formally diagnosed with celiac. I just say that I am celiac because that's the level of allergic that I am, and my symptoms reflected being celiac. Like, I was actually malnourished while I was eating gluten. Like, I couldn't metabolize anything. And so it felt like my body was allergic to everything that I ate, and it was because my body was actually incapable of digesting things. So, if your life was a movie, what songs would be on the soundtrack? Quick answer, Simon and Garfunkel, like all of their greatest hits album, and Paul Simon, Graceland. Yeah, and then like the victorious moments would probably be like Queen. Where do you find your recipes? What are your favorite meals to cook? I don't really do recipes. I do sometimes just to see like what temperature something needs to be cooked at. If you guys watch my vlogs, or if you don't watch my vlogs, I cook a lot. It is part of my like genetics. It's my family, we're all really into cooking. My mother, I call a kitchen witch. Like, she's actually like, that's where her magic is. When she's in the kitchen, she's the happiest person alive. If you want to calm my mother down, you take her to the grocery store, which is not true about me. Oh boy, I hate going to the grocery store. If you really want to calm her down, you take her to Costco. Like, that's her happy place. And so I learned where flavor comes from. It comes from slowly browning foods and seasoning them, and then what temperatures make things taste good, and the order in which to cook them. And then after that, yeah, I mean, I could really, do a full, like, probably 4-year course on learning, like, Asian cooking or Indian cooking or something like that. Like, it's a totally different entire repertoire and ingredients and methods and everything, like things that I'm totally familiar with. I'm not calling myself an expert. I'm just saying, you give me an onion, I can cook you a meal. Like, I can make stuff taste good. And if you are ever wanting to learn how to make food taste good, and you want to like start from a place where you don't really know that much, but you want to know like how to cook, not just recipes to cook, because I'll be honest guys, writing a recipe never really, I've done it, it never really puts all the fine points in there of just like, actually, you know, this is what it's supposed to look like, this is like taste along the way, season along the way, you're probably going to add more salt than you want to because it needs to taste good kind of thing. If you're ever looking for someone to go to for that kind of thing, Anne Burrell, her show on Food Network, I think it's called like, you know, how to cook like a restaurant chef or something like that. She has all of these adages that get stuck in your brain. She has brown food tastes good, because it's true. She has, you know, BTB-RTS, which is like bring to boil, reduce to simmer, which is what you do. I mean, it's like, that is literally like the fundamental of making food marry together, is bringing it up to a certain temperature where everything is all the same temperature so that it's technically cooked, and then reducing it to a simmer and letting everything just kind of like chill there for a little while and break down and all the flavors to get together. Those are just a couple of examples, but she is my goddess. I want to eat her food. She is amazing. And so besides my mother, Anne Burrell is like my cooking goddess. What is the last thing you got angry about? I probably shouldn't share that. I'm new to the fam. How did you get your start on YouTube? I just did a video on this. My last Get Ready With Me talks about my entire journey on YouTube. So make sure you check that out. When did you decide to stretch your earlobes and why? How long did it take? What was the process like? Did it hurt? Or are you glad you did it? So I'm gonna trigger warn you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out, okay? I'll put a timestamp if you don't wanna see this. Jump to here and we'll be done. But right now I'm gonna take this out. So my ears are at 9/16, and I started stretching them when I was 15, and I am now 31. And it happened because of my friend Susan. We were in, oh, there's makeup on my, I don't know why I'm surprised by that, but there's makeup on my plug. I played in the steel drum band at my high school, Leon High School, Tallahassee, Florida, go Lions. I loved the people in that freaking band. We were a bunch of awesome misfits. I value it so much. I actually applied to go to like the alternative high school, which is called Sale in Tallahassee, and I got in. A bunch of my friends went there, and so like I got in, but like right after my freshman year, but I was about to join the steel drum band, and I was like, I'm gonna stay in the steel drum band, and so that's what kept me at Leon. And I'm glad, because I was my mom's alma mater, and like I got to have all these little symbols next to my name for being a legacy for graduating, you know, among all of my other family members. While I was in that class, my friend Susan, who, oh my god, she's so great, a great human. She had her ears just slightly stretched, and she was more of like a Hot Topic girl, and I was more of like an emo kid, but it crossed over on the ear stretching, and I had never done well with metal earrings. Like, they always blew my ears up and like made everything, like no matter what metal I tried, my ears just hated regular earrings. And I was like, I need a way to rebel, and that is it. I have found it. And so what you do really at that age is that you find friends who have already stretched like one level above you, because once they have stretched up from a certain size, they have no use for those earrings anymore. And so she had, just like everybody does, a collection of larger and larger plugs. And so I started out with, you know, teeny tiny ones. And like, you go to Hot Topic, man, that stuff is cheap. I'm not gonna say it's cute, but it's cheap. And I eventually started going to actual piercing places to get my plugs, because I befriended Kim, if you're in Tallahassee, at What's the Point. She is the greatest piercer I have ever been to. She is my, I love her. If I have a cooking goddess, I have a piercing goddess. Kim at What's the Point in Tallahassee is my piercing goddess. Yeah, these are not my only piercings. I have had lots of piercings. I also have these on both sides of my nose. Yes. And sometimes you might notice that you could drive a truck through my ear right here. You can actually see daylight through my ear right here. And that is a piercing that I don't know, I was having myself a moment in college, and this guy next to me in my painting class had this piercing, and I was like, I need that! I need it right now! I've never been like an addictive tattoo person, but I love getting pierced, y'all. I love getting pierced. And so she did that. That was the most painful piercing I've ever had in my entire life. Anyway, back to stretching my ears. I started when I was 15. I probably went from like a 14 to a 12 to a 10 to an 8 to a 6. In fact, I think I skipped 10. I went from like a 12 to an 8, which was like the worst idea in the world, and it probably gave me scar tissue. So you have to be really careful when you're stretching, and you know, not skip gauges, because you will, like eventually when they're this big, they start to weigh down, and so it's really easy to stretch to the next size if you really want to, but if you make scar tissue, they'll never shrink back up. These, I've stuck at 9/16, but I was at, what would that be? I was at a 1/2 inch for a really, really long time, and then my plug started falling out, and I was like, what is stuck to my nose? And I actually took them out for a really long time because I thought that I was going to get them sewn back up. It's like $800 to get them sewn up. And then I stretched them right back out. I just ended up liking them a lot. And so now I have more. I used to only wear like 1 set of plugs, but now I have like 4 pairs, and I really, really like, kind of, I have 5. Trading them all out and just kind of with my mood. The rose quartz I didn't expect to love, but I'm like really, really liking it. In the beginning it really hurts. If you're kind of into getting pierced, it's not that bad. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. Like I like getting pierced. And am I glad I did it? Absolutely. I feel like it's kind of part of my personality. Like maybe one day I'll get them sewn back up, but like right now it's totally like a link to my younger self. I dress really like not seen now, and so I do like having a couple of little things kind of left over from my past. Like my 2 nose rings, I will be buried in those, and for now these are definitely sticking around. Why I don't put jewelry in this is because it's still the most painful thing that I've ever done in my life, so that's just gonna stay like that. So that question was from Heather Levine. Maddie Pinto Bean asked, I'm probably too late, but what do you do to de-stress? Well, one thing I do to de-stress is work. Sounds crazy, but I have created this channel because it's my happy place. And I de-stress by coming on here and hanging out with you guys and talking to you. So that is one thing. Another thing that I do to de-stress is run. I have always been like a runner by choice. Like if I was going to do exercise for healthy or unhealthy reasons, I was always a runner. But when I met my husband, Mike, he was training for a marathon, and he ran for Dartmouth. He ran for the University of Texas. He won. His whole bedroom, his childhood bedroom, used to be just like wall to wall with trophies and awards. And he's still like the fastest person I know. He's crazy. And it's not true. I know Trey Hardy, so decathlete. But yeah, so he really motivated me to kind of get into running, and it's become one of those things that, I don't know, I was listening to Peter Sagal the other day on NPR because he just put out his new book, The Incomplete Book of Running, and he says, how do you know the difference between someone who runs and a runner? Someone who runs is like, you know, if you're on the treadmill at the gym because you need to get your cardio in. A runner feels antsy if they go for a couple of days without running, and like that's me. I just feel antsy. Like running is therapeutic for me, and you're either kind of like that or you're not. And I also, like, there's a lot of stuff that I can't do. Like I really have to kill myself to do yoga. I try and I do it. I do actually do yoga because I know it's good for me, and it's a really good kind of counterbalance to running, because running's just like really rough on your joints, but it's really hard to set aside an hour and move slowly. Be totally honest. Other ways that I de-stress, just kind of hanging out outside. I love being outside. I love the sunshine. I love forgetting where the hell I am. Like that's really the best thing about being in nature is, I don't know, I wrote this in my recent blog post, like 5 ways to start being happier right now. So nature does this weird thing, right? Where in one moment you're like, oh my God, this is my own little microcosm of reality, man. Like I'm looking at this beetle standing on his head, putting his butt in the air, which totally, I watched 2 different beetles do that. Turns out they're like the skunks of the desert, like the bug desert, and so they're just like actually like warning me that they're about to like spray their butt at me, but but at the same time you have this like totally overwhelming feeling like, whoa, I'm in this thing that we're all sharing, and nature is just all of us, really, man. And like that is actually like a sample, a Costco sample of enlightenment, of understanding that you are small and understanding that your experience is valuable at the same time. The scale of things is just kind of a moment. So nature. It took me a really long time to warm up to nature too. That was another Mike thing, because I was always like an indoor kid. I was like, no, I like fashion and I like looking cute and I like outfits and I like makeup. And then I was just like, whoa, man, the outdoors are crazy, man. Backcountry camping, that one threw me for a loop. But pretty much everything else. Oh, and then also hiking way too high in altitude, that effed me up. But as long as I kind of keep my hikes in like, 2 hours, it's okay. All right, those are all of my YouTube questions. Let's go on to Instagram. Would love to know more about your experience getting gauges. So I'm glad that I answered that, because that's someone else's question as well. Can I please win the Glossier giveaway? I love you so much, by the way. It's a Gleam link. It is a randomized selector so that these kinds of things are not on my heart and on my conscience. Are you guys going on a honeymoon? Yes. Yes, absolutely, 100%. We want to go to New Zealand, but it might end up having to kind of wait just because I am in a different financial situation than I thought I was going to be. So we're just kind of letting that be primordial right now. My friend Erin Dio says, how is Babby formed? Hey Erin. Tavener says, how did you end up in Austin? I ended up in Austin because I was dating a guy when I first started college. And he is he's from like the Keys, I think. His family moved around a lot, but at the time they lived in College Station. If you've never been to College Station, no offense, y'all, and it's not just because they stole my football coach. College Station kind of sucks. I remember kind of visiting him for Christmas, his family and everything, and he was like, yo, I know this city sucks, let's go to Austin. And I was like, okay. And I like stepped off the plane at LAX, like I got out of the car in Austin and I was just like, oh yeah, this is my vibe. Like, it was Christmas, it was like 60 degrees, and I stepped out in the middle of South Congress Avenue and I was like, yes, something about this place just vibes with me. Me and him broke up pretty shortly thereafter. It was ill-fated and I was not in a good mindset, but I told everybody all the way through college. I was like, I'm gonna move to Austin when I graduate. And lo and behold, I moved to Austin when I graduated. I didn't even go to my own like graduation ceremony. I didn't walk or anything. Me and my friend Jordan packed up the car and we moved. He moved into like a venue, like a DIY venue, and I lived with my friend Josh, and he was like the best roommate I have ever had, hands down. What up, Josh? Yeah, and like the place just enveloped me in care. It was like, I got my hair license here. I had to retake all the tests and everything because Florida is hilarious. It doesn't even make you take a practical, and so they don't assimilate with anybody license-wise. So I had to come to Texas after doing hair for 4 years professionally and retake all of the cosmetology tests, which was hilarious. I did that and I immediately got a job at Bird's Barbershop, which is still my home away from home. I love them so much. I still go there to get my hair done. Just was able to support myself. Like, this place is always taking care of me. And so I do know some people who Austin has chewed them up and spit them back out, but this place is where I have belonged ever since like the moment I first stepped foot here. If you're looking for a change and you still live in your hometown, like maybe getting out of your hometown even for a brief amount of time, even if it seems really hard, because my mother like literally didn't forgive me for like 4 years, it still makes such a huge difference. And I'm so glad that I did it. And now I own a home here and Austin is home. And I've been here almost 10 years now. I love Austin. I do. All like warts and all, traffic and all, it's still mine. It's my weird little misfit city. Did you do your crown braid yourself? Saw the pic on a recent post somewhere. Yes. Next Monday there will be a full tutorial on the crown braid. Thanks for queuing that up for me, Ashley and Todd. Help me plug my video. So yeah, look out for that on Monday. I'll show you guys how I do my braid crown / milkmaid braids for short hair, because my hair is really short. Like, these braids would not reach over my head, so you get to see the magic. CC Gold Lady says, what's a quick rundown of what your opinion is of all the zodiac signs? That's hilarious. Okay. So, guys, I think that that's kind of it. Huh. I don't know why I'm acting like it happened so fast. It didn't. It took forever. But this has been really, really fun. Thank you guys for letting me, like, you know, chill and share with you guys, because today I just needed to kind of decompress and feel like we were hanging out. So I hope this was fun and that you guys got to, like, find out some new things about me, quirky as I am. Really only all you ever see is like me from the shoulders up talking about makeup. There's a lot more to me than that. If there are any questions that I did not answer, or that this, you know, sparked in your brain, leave those down below. We can always do another one. I think that they're really fun. Guys, I hope, if you're in America, that you are having a lovely time, vacation, Thanksgiving situation, and that this was kind of a fun way to decompress for you. And if you're in another country, just we're sending all of our vibes, all of our good vibes. Thanksgiving was not necessarily like a good vibe kind of thing when it first happened, I'm gonna be totally honest, but we've adapted it into something positive, you know, lemons, lemonade. Thank you for watching. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and Friday is a Black Friday anti-haul, so mark your calendars.